Now that was a hangover game if I've ever seen one, man. I don't think it's ideal for our team to have had these three games in back-to-back succession. This game, the Everton game, and then obviously the Plymouth game. It's going to start planting little seeds of doubt into the Liverpool supporters' mind, and I started to think about that as well. And then I started to look at some of the facts, and I'm like, man, we're actually in a really good way, and we're in a really good moment right now as a team. And there is no need to panic. That's the first thing that I want to say straight off the bat before I dive into the game. There is no need to panic with this Liverpool team. We are in a great way. We have 21 games unbeaten. The fact of the matter is that this is our title to lose. Can we lose it? There's a possibility. Will we lose it? That remains to be seen. But as a game as a whole, you can tell that the Everton game, with the emotions so high, with so much at stake, right? The lead that we wanted to keep on Arsenal, obviously getting a win against Everton in the last ever Merseyside derby at Goodison Park, right? Gunnarsson Park. But it's to draw it in the way that we did with the referee interference and stuff like that. You could tell it's drained the team and it's drained the supporters. Anfield, you could hear a pin drop in there and some of those times. The tension was so high, especially after that second Matheus Cunha goal went in. You could tell that there was a little bit of nervousness around the ground. And I think this is a season saver. I think if we don't win this match, I think a lot of pressure starts to build up on this Liverpool team. Those boys over in South London start making a lot of noise and they'll start believing. But I think this keeps them at bay. And if we can start piecing some of these wins together, obviously, right? We have a couple tough matches coming together. But if we can start piecing these wins together again, I think we can get this done and we can put this thing away, and actually pretty early. But credit to Wolves. They came and they decided to attack us, which is pretty rare, especially given where they are in the table. So many of those bottom half tables, they'll come to Anfield and they'll set up shop and they'll park the bus. Wolves did not do that. They came out in that second half and they took us to the sword, man. They were the better team in the second half. It was really a tale of two halves kind of things with Wolves. And Matheus Cunha. Sheesh, bruh. Sheesh. I was a doubter. I was a doubter of you. I really was. But he ran that midfield for Wolves today, and really the attack, honestly. But a very outstanding performance for him, and massive credit to Wolves for even being able to get him to re-sign, right? But before we jump into the game, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're watching from. We're all over the world, man. We're Florida, Houston, Belgium, Netherlands. Big shout out to Netherlands. They are massive influence onto our squad. South Africa, right? All over the place. Cape Cod, I saw. So make sure you guys put where you're watching from. And then we just hit 5,000 subscribers. If you're new here, make sure you join the team, join the club. We're going to continue to grow this thing all over the world. And make sure you send this to a Liverpool fan that you know so we can grow this community. But I think a better team maybe digs out a draw or a win today. I think if we play a better team, we're not as lucky as we are today. And sometimes you do need luck to win these games, especially when you're in a title charge and you're looking to become champions in any sport, right? Ibu was really lucky not to see a second yellow, and we were really lucky not to concede more in that second half. It took a moment of magic from Matheus Cunha to even get past Ali and VVD back there, who had outstanding games today. And credit to Connor and Gerald Kwanzaa for coming on. I had doubts about these two. Whenever they came on together in the past, or whenever they played together in the past, it was absolute mayhem. But they actually played really well. Connor put in some crucial tackles late in the game, and JQ made a game-saving tackle on there. So I want to see them continue to develop. I want to see them continue to get better from these moments on and build on these performances under Arne Slot. And I'm very happy to see that Arne is still believing in Gerald Kwanzaa, where a lot of us, including myself, stopped believing in this guy. So, but you have to look at some of the facts, though. We didn't register a single shot on target the entire second half. It's the first time that it's ever actually happened for Arne Slot. I don't know if this is something that you look into, but statistically, also, this wasn't as bad as we thought it really was. It was actually a pretty even game and a tale of two halves. We dominated the first half. They dominated the second half, and it was pretty even across the board. And I think Arne actually will be a little bit happy with this result. It'll be easy to look at the last handful of games, like I mentioned before, and start getting really nervous about this team and whether they can do it. But I think it's the way that these games were just lined up, and the fact that they were back to back to back. I feel like if these games were spread out over, say, 2 or 3, different games in between, we wouldn't be having these nervous conversations. But to go from Plymouth to the Everton draw, and then now to this result, yes, it's 1-1-1. But you come out of these games a little bit, especially this one, and you feel like you almost didn't win, right? At the same time, or you didn't deserve the win. And then the draw obviously didn't even feel like a draw. Sometimes those draws feel like losses. But let's look at the facts here. This is a well-needed win, and that's what it is, right? That I think you can start to build off of. 21 games unbeaten this year. We are 2 or 3 more wins away from, I think, putting this thing away. I think if we can string another 2 to 3 more wins together, I think that demoralizes Arsenal. And I think we can start, not taking the foot off the gas, but not having this nervous energy around this title. But in actuality, it's 9 more wins to make history. And I think that we can do that. Anfield did seem tense today. Pins and needles type of stuff. And I was a little bit of the pins and needles type of stuff, a little bit drained, a little bit doubtful going into this game. But I think we have everything to be positive about. I mean, we've lost 1 Premier League match all season, and it took like a Herculean effort from this Nottingham Forest side that looked really good this year. So that loss actually ages really, really well. We still have a lot of season to go. Obviously, I'm not getting ahead of myself, but I think Slot will be happy with this win overall, given what it means to Liverpool, that we restore the gap at the top, but maybe not so happy with the performance, but maybe he is, right? Maybe he is. And if you look at it as in a vacuum, it's actually a really good defensive display from this team. Big shout out to Endo. He was huge closing out that match. And that's a shout that so many Liverpool fans have been calling for, is to put Endo on to close out some of these games when we're 2-0 up, 3-0 up, instead of, throwing on typically Gerald Kwanzaa, but Gerald Kwanzaa came on with Endo, right? Endo is so good defensively. He's obviously a veteran, 31 years old, seen it all, done it all, right? And has played at some of the biggest matches in Germany. I think it's time for Arne to start trusting him and trusting Chiesa. I think so as well. I was really bummed out not to see Chiesa in this match, given that he has all of this experience. He knows how to see out a game, and he's dangerous. So I want him to start getting some more chances, and I'm sure he will later in the season. But for me, my man of the match, it's close between Szoboszlai and VVD for me. Sabo ran the show in that first half. I think if he had a better second half, it would be a definite for me, and even spend some time on that left wing, which maybe I think kind of affected the performance a little bit. I don't think it was too bad in that second half, but I think he was outstanding in that first half. The running, the strides, it makes it so easy for the other two in the midfield to do what they do best. And that's be Mackham, be Ryan Gravenberch in such a unique and special way. I don't think there's a more unique midfield that in the world right now, where you have a 6 that can glide and gallop past midfielders and break lines through dribbling. And you have a box-to-box 8 that can do absolutely anything and comes in a messy size package. And I think Sabo completes the other two with his running, with his physicality and his pressing. And he allows them to not have to be all the way what their role is on the pitch, right? It allows Ryan Gravenberch to not all the way be a bona fide ball-winning 6, where he can still express some of that creativity that he has and the ball carrying that he possesses as a box-to-box 8, which is what he was at Bayern Munich. Was tested out really more so as a 6 at Bayern Munich, but more so at Ajax. And a 8-10-ish that Maka likes to play, right? That he played a little bit later on in that game. I think Sabo unlocks all of them. And then now he's finding a way to work in his game, which is the dynamism, the dribbling, and the long shots. So I love to see it. He reminds me a lot of Steven Gerrard. He has a long, long way to go. Obviously, he needs to amp up the assists and the goals, but I think it was a really good performance today. But let's talk about VVD, and I think VVD is my man of the match today. He's one of those players that it's just what you expect from him. So sometimes you get a little spoiled from VVD. You get a little spoiled. And the fact that the wing backs can be lazy and they can just be like, all right, whatever, VVD will get it. It's a gift and a curse at the same time, because some of those times VVD isn't a superhuman, even though he looks like it sometimes, and he can't get back and stop some of these attacks. But he was outstanding today. cutting everything out, stamping everything out, and playing really well, almost as like a deep lying midfielder, spreading passes around, conducting from the back. And if there's one thing that I'll say about VVD that I think he got a lot of heat for, especially in the past, is that his captaincy has just grown on him, man. He's just looked so much better as a captain this season than he has last season. And he is, oh, captain, my captain. And I personally believe he's been outstanding this season, looks back at his best. And I think he deserves another contract. And I think he shuts up a lot of the haters, even some of the Liverpool fans that were saying, you need to take the armband off of VVD. Some very influential Liverpool fans who were saying that type of stuff. I don't think they're saying it now. VVD is my man of the match. So what's next? We got Aston Villa and then we got City. Two very tough games. Two very tough games. If we play like this, obviously we are not going to win those games. But I think we'll be up for it, and I think we'll be at our best, and I think Arne will be working to figure out a way to beat these two teams. It's going to be tough because he may be suspended for one of these matches. Hopefully the appeal goes through and he's able to be on that sideline. But my main question, more so than anything, is who's our best forward line in these next two games? Díaz looked better today. Not all the way convincing for me. I know he got the penalty and he got the goal. Jota looked outstanding. Obviously, he's still working towards fitness. Hopefully, he's at 100% for these next two games because I think he's going to be very, very important. Him with Mo and I think maybe Gakpo. But let me know what you guys think. But it feels like crunch time in these next two games. I think it's a make or break type of moment right now in our season. And these are must wins, I think. And if we win these two, I think it's safe to say we can put it to bed from here. But who was your man of the match? Let us know who you're predicting starting 11 is for this next match. And then what's your prediction on the scoreline for the next match as well? Make sure you guys subscribe. Again, thank you guys so much for the 5K. Insane. I started this channel as a fun little hobby to talk about the team that I love, to get in the community with some of the best fans in the world. And it's just grown and grown to something that I did not think it would grow to. So I want to say thank you guys. You guys are amazing. Don't forget to join our Discord. I want to continue to give more than I receive on this channel. And I want this to be our channel more so than my channel. So I'm going to keep doing things that incorporate you guys, get your guys' voice heard. Tell me what your thoughts are down below. I love talking to you guys in the comments. Some of the best comments that I've seen on YouTube come from you guys, come from your guys' insane brains. But I love you guys. I appreciate you. And we will see you on the next one. Up the Reds. Enjoy your Sunday. You guys deserve it. Peace.